Yeah.
Seems like it.
Okay.
Everything fine.
Okay. I can hear myself.
I got it.
Okay, Cody. So this TROM project is something that I started in 2011, and I made a huge documentary, 14-hour documentary about. It's difficult to explain what it was about, because it was about many kinds of subjects. But in general, it was about our society and how our society works and our monetary system, what problems there are, and what solutions there can be to this pile of problems. And in time, it evolved into what is now, because now we make other videos, documentaries, we make books, we have a website, TROM-Site.com, where you can find a lot of our stuff. Like we have, we curate news, we curate videos, we work on a custom Linux distribution now. And basically what we are trying to do here is to showcase the problem, what is in this world, what creates most of the problems in this world. And we kind of realize that it's the structure of our society that creates the problems. And this structure of this monetary system that many people are calling as such, but in fact is like, it's a trade. It's a trade system. It's a global trade system. I have this, you have that, and we have to trade. And all of this gives rise to a lot of problems. And we want to put a highlight on that. But we also want to showcase solutions, because what's the point of just pointing out to a problem if we don't point out to solutions? So we have many tools that we do, like the videos and so forth, that are trade-free. We call them trade-free because we ask nothing in return. Is the best free that can be, I would say, because we don't collect your data, we don't want your money. Of course, if you want to help us or if you want to donate us, it's completely voluntary. It's a volunteer thing, but we don't ask anything in return. So that's what this project's all about. You can go on TROM-Site.com and you can go through all of our stuff if you are new to this. And I was curious to talk about that viral video a little bit about, like, I think you, Cody, have some stats and stuff like that. I was curious.
Yep. So I think we're at like 1.2, 1.3 million on that video or whatever. Yeah, 35% of the traffic was from India, which I thought was interesting. And then it was mostly our generation and the generation a little bit later, so like 30, like, yes, early 20s to like mid 30s, and then it just falls right off after that. 90% male viewership, 91% were viewing on Android, which is,
wow.
Yeah, that's huge. Windows and like
mobile
operating systems, they weren't even like, not even a drop.
And how did they come to that video? I think you have some.
Yeah, so that it was actually being pushed on the homepage, and I'm not sure if there was like a triggering, like maybe like a big fight over there or something that would trigger, you know, tribal or fighting conflict, something. But right at December, and then There was like a little jump at December, and then the big one was February 19th. And most
So to explain, it was a video about it was a little bit from TROM documentary. It was about how through footage we showcase how this entire world is like a tribe, because we may look at other cultures who are fighting with each other and organize fights and behave in a primitive way. We may look at them and say they are primitive and they are savage. But if you compare that with our world, with boxing and K1 and all kinds of sports like that, it becomes so similar. So are we the same, the same kind of primitive people in our society? That was the video.
Yeah, I think that video format, a nice digestible, like 2-minute, almost just watching and feeling, it was kind of, that's what the YouTube algorithm demands. So if we can have like kind of like, you have a couple clips like that on the channel, or even just kind of focusing more on that, or Seb, I think you're doing kind of like the shorter style kind of.
Yeah, we will talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it was weird because that video was also age restricted.
Yeah, that was a huge thing too. Yeah, there was the nudity or whatever, if that's what it was, age restricted over, but that you still that was absolutely went viral. So that's huge to me. So like if we could make a non-age restricted but still as effective at I guess reaching
that's the
people.
weird thing, because we have so many videos, and it was completely arbitrary. That video is uploaded, I think, in 2012.
2012.
2012.
And
Like,
all the views like this for 8 years, and then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the weird part. So I don't think there is a recipe. That's what I was maybe trying to point out. It's not a recipe to say I will make this great video and it will go viral, because you have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea, but maybe other videos will go viral as well. But to me, what's more important is, one, I hope that people understand the message from that video. And Dima, did you look at the comments? Because I didn't have the time. Are people, what are people saying? Are people...
They don't think much. They're just smiles and some one word and just cool or whatever. Yeah. It doesn't look like real people though.
So there was there's like 2 or 3 comments in there that was like, oh, there was something to say, but yeah, it was a majority of just.
I think the top comment was a religious comment though. It was mentioning Prophet Muhammad.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so on. So I don't think the majority really are interested in TROM and would understand like these types of ideas, which is the sad part, because so many subscribers are added, but I don't know if they're even like gonna want to inquire into these types of ideas.
Yeah, did the sub count actually do something for us except change the number?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's, so for me was like, if a video goes viral, for one, at least I hope that people understand the message in the video, at least. And second, I hope that they are getting more interest in the project, because if they don't, if they only see that video, it's just like a Facebook video that goes viral and whatever, people go on with their lives. But I think it's a very interesting project if people come across it, because we have so much materials, and usually you don't see that with projects, because I've been seeing lots of projects for the past 10 years that want to change the world, and they sell books, or they put advertising, or they make so many crazy claims, and they are spiritual and so forth. But we have none of that. We sell nothing. It's completely like it is. You read our books, you see our videos, everything we do is sourced. So I think it would be great if anyone new will come across this project. It would be a lot of materials. Oh, hi there.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining. Are you new to this project?
No, I'm following it like for 2 years, from last 2 years. I send you many mails. I'm from India. My name is Param.
So we talked over email.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff through email.
Okay, that's great. Okay.
Actually, it's very late. Actually, it's very late here. It's like 1 a.m. So I was just doing something. So I got your notification on Gmail that you are streaming live, but I don't know which software you guys were using. Otherwise, like I've watched all your streams maximum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for joining. We will get back to our main discussion. Just want to introduce a bit the idea of why we talk about a little bit about this video, viral video, because we also have some like 20 some videos that we made and we want to start and post on YouTube. Actually, we mainly post on TROM site, and from TROM site we post on the other social networks like YouTube, like Facebook. And Seb, if you want to talk about what kind of videos we are going to post, because we posted one and we were going to post every week, like two videos, two kinds of videos.
So I think you created now a new section on the website called videos. That's the third down. And there will be 3 different types of videos that we will be showcasing. The first one will be video books. Those will be books or videos, documentary style videos made based on the books that Theo, Dima, and other people have written. And they are a bit longer format, so about 30 minutes. It takes a bit longer to produce such videos. Probably would only be released once every couple months or so. And then we'll be releasing every week, probably starting this Monday, 1 TROM poem and 1 TROM voice. So the TROM voices will be like people like Jacques Fresco or Gandhi or Martin Luther King or whatever inspirational people that we find will have a message relatable to TROM. And we'll have some great footage in the background and just try to use it as inspirational and inspirational content to help get a better understanding of what is it we're trying to do and of the world and the problems we're trying to tackle. And then the poems are are videos, short videos, about 2 to 5 minutes long, each with a different topic. Some about structuralism, some more specific about alcohol and partying, others about daily hustle. And I have created these videos, but other people can also try to create such videos, and they rhyme a bit, and they are similar to the videos, just a little more maybe entertaining, but similar to the videos that I created for understanding more, for those who know. And it will be exciting to see what people think of them. And I think releasing them on a continuous basis, on a weekly basis, might help create a bit of curiosity and just see how it goes. Yeah.
Yep. We will release more and more videos because it's easier for people to perhaps get across such new ideas rather than books like the usual that we release. So yeah, I'm very excited because we have many videos. So let's see
sure.
how this will evolve. And yeah, I think that's it, the introduction, and we can talk about the main subject here that Dima chose. So Dima, it's up to you to.
Yeah, today we're gonna speak about expectations, what it is, why it's important, and mainly, like for me, I would like to discuss with you guys all the root causes of these expectations we have in life, like why we are raised with such a way of thinking that we expect things. So in a short way to kind of introduce this idea, we all here because we want to change something in society, we want to see different kind of society, different kind of values and systems, and therefore we do something. But it's really hard to succeed in, it's like so impossible task, and sometimes we can be frustrated. And the way Jacques Fresco put it, the world is fine, it's like your expectation which hurts you. The world just as it is, and if you accept it or not. And so this way of not accepting things which actually hurts you. So if you don't like something or don't agree, it's your idea, it's not reality. Reality is like that. We live in a capitalistic society which fucked up everything, but it's the way it is. So And instead of expecting something, it's better to work towards and try to improve something. But expectation is a big part for, let's say, such causes as depression and anxiety and stuff like that. So that's my short introduction.
And I think the expectation can hurt you, but it's also that the society itself can also hurt you, because if you don't have food and if you don't have anywhere to stay, then is quite not so much about how you think, of course. It's you will get hurt directly by the society. So of course we also acknowledge that.
In my case, it's more about mental state, all these expectations.
So, that's what I was trying to get at. Like we are going to talk about more the expectation sides of this, because the things that we can control in a way, like they affect us because we think about them and we expect some results. And this should revolve around.
For sure. Yeah, I think an interesting upon is this concept that Jack always talks about that has helped me so much, and that is this principle of not looking for justice. And most people in this world, they look for justice in terms of give the world all the best of you and the best will come right back. And there's this religious notion of thinking that if you help people and you're kind and you're smiling and you're happy and so on, the world is going to be happy back. But sadly, that's not necessarily how it is. And if you are sometimes a bit more pessimistic, or you just don't look for justice, you're not looking for a thumbs up and so on, you might not be as vulnerable to dangers that lie in society. In a way.
But that's interesting where this way of thinking coming from is actually really implemented by our social media and movies and all this mainstream media. When you watch movies, it's always happy ending. Like all Hollywood movies should have happy ending, that everything happens. If there's a bad guy, there's definitely a good one who will win. He will struggle all 2 hours during the movie, but in the last minute he'll win it. And this kind of thinking really goes inside us. So that's the way we start to see the world. It's tough now, but it will be better in the next life, or in the next reincarnation, or next year, or whatever. Especially with religious people who believe that spiritual life will be better than the existing one.
They expect something at the end of their lives. But they will not get disappointed, actually, because if they die, I mean, you cannot say fuck,
It's just one of the examples. But but it's hurting when you do something. Let's say you wrote a book or you filmed a video. That's what we all do here. And then you expect somebody to watch it, right? And then nobody watched it, and you feel depressed and think, fuck that. I don't want to do this anymore. I will go to work somewhere, earn money, and buy a car or whatever. I just get tired of that. But then, that's the tough thing. To really accept that and learn to not expect anything from what you're doing, because it's not of your control. Like all the things which is you are in charge of, you can expect something from yourself, to be stronger, to finish some project, something. You can expect that. But if something that you're releasing out and you depend on other people, you never could expect. You never know what will be the reaction. An example with this video, it's like 1.7 million out of nowhere, and you could never expect that, for sure.
That's why we don't get disappointed, because when I made those videos, I expected absolutely nothing. So actually, that's what drives me. When I make something, I just make something, I put it out there. We don't have any stats to see how many people read our books, for example. But in the past, we had some such stats, and as I explained in another TROM-Cast, it did not influence my work at all, because if 5 people are reading or 5,000, to me, for this project, it is not important. It's important the message itself. So in this way, I could continue I did the same kind of things for the past 8 years or 9 years, because I didn't expect for views and such things.
Yeah,
So that's why you can get hurt if you expect more views and you expect engagement.
Exactly. I think that's a very healthy mindset. Instead of like commercializing or selling yourself out, that has something as well to do with your expectations, because it's like the trade-free concept. If you were to now submit to it and do everything just to get the higher views, and you're constantly fighting for the views, you automatically have as well higher expectations for what it is that you're doing. But if you detach yourself and do it just for the pleasure of doing it, and whatever happens, then that's a healthier mindset in a way, or a more protected mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And here comes this idea of your aims, why you're doing something. Is something back, and actually as soon as you think about getting something back, it's already trade relationships.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
and you don't get back and you feel disappointed. Now it's like you get cheated. You work so hard, you're
exactly. I did all this shit all my life, and now what do I get? And that's kind of what capitalism is all about, you know. It's this American dream of you had the big house and everything, and now I worked all my fucking life and I didn't get anything in return. It was all a big hoax. So it's a funny trade relationship there.
Yeah. So you get depressed, or you get drunk, or you go and kill somebody, and it's like that.
Yeah.
It's the perfect recipe for getting disappointed.
Exactly. The whole system is built that way for you to want to aspire to become a celebrity, which is never going to happen. And if you become that celebrity, it's not what you expected it to be. It's going to be a trap of complete, idiocracy.
I may pronounce your name wrong. So can you tell us again your name?
Param? No.
Whose name? My name?
Yeah,
it's Param.
Param.
Yeah.
Param.
Okay. So you can if you want to say something, just please say, and we will let you say.
Nah, just let me be more comfortable, then I'll say.
Of course. Perfect.
I'm listening everything.
Perfect. Just so you know.
But just so you know, I just love TROM project. Like, really, I'm following it like for the last 2 years. Actually, I found it about. I used to follow the VNex project you heard about. Yeah, and then when the Jackie Fresco died, then I don't know where on Facebook or somewhere I heard your TROM project in some comment or something. Then I started reading about it. Then I found about this project. I mean, I read all your books and videos. I watched all your videos. It's like awesome.
Great.
And
nice.
And on your site, the TROM.com, there's a why you stopped and about your daily routine. I don't know
what did you say? I didn't get that.
And on your site on your personal site TROM, there was live section where you share everyday progress of yours. It's no more there.
We do the same. I moved it to TROM site actually. And we do the same on TROM site. If you go on TROM site, we have the top logo. If you click the top logo, you will have a drop down with all of our updates. I put there daily. I write there, actually. Okay. So yeah, it's the same. I love doing that. Yeah. So
I was just checking it few days earlier, so I thought you stopped doing that.
Yeah, maybe we should. Yeah, we want to make it more discoverable. We want to put something there when you visit for the website and it says, here are the live updates, but it's not as easy, it's easy in your mind, is very difficult to implement it on a website. So yeah, I know.
It's when you trying to tell this idea to people, they don't even want to listen to it. They say it's bullshit, they just don't understand it, right?
Do you talk to other people about TROM and TROM-like subjects?
Every day. I tell people every day about it. Every day. Whomever, every friend of me knows about it.
Well, that's great, because you see, we don't see such people when you talk to offline friends and family. If we measure what our impact is online, it's always a bit bigger in reality. That's important.
Yeah, but they don't even try to understand. They say that it's like that's how it's done. That's our parents did this way. We lived this way only. Like I don't understand why they think that.
So of course they don't agree with what you talk to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what like so disappointing. Like sometimes it gets so irritated. Like I don't even talk about it.
Yeah, welcome to my life,
Yeah.
because that's or to all of our lives,
Yeah.
because that's how
And
it
by the
is.
way,
That's how
I
it is.
am in monetized system. I'm air conditioning technician. I repair ACs, air conditioners.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
it's
like
great that you came across Trump. And yeah, if you ever can or want to help with, for example, translating stuff or things like that, so you can reach other people that
I
don't
try to
speak
tell,
English.
but I'm like my English and I'm not that studied. Now, like I haven't passed high school even. I'm not even high school passed.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
yeah,
all right. The whole educational system is anyway pretty
yeah.
BS.
I didn't go to school. Actually, it's money problem. My parents didn't able to send me here, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't got good marks and stuff like that.
Because even in school, if you think about it, it's so much about expectations from parents' side. People, they send their kids
Yeah,
to school because they have
yeah.
expectations and they want.
My parents wants to send me in the army, but I don't want to go there, and like they try and force me into that. So I had fight with them. So now I live separate. No, no bullshit.
Yeah,
Like
I think it's also enforced by this system, even for parents to have expectations from their kids, not only because they have these such values, but because they understand that if the kids don't make a living in this world, they will
yeah,
get into a lot of trouble. So those expectations are also pushed by this straight kind of system very, very much, not only in terms of values, but in terms of, say, fear, because you fear for your kids, for their failures.
and
Completely.
like in India, like jobs are like sellable, like they're available for the sale. If you wanna join the police force, like it's for like 1 lakh rupees. You wanna join the army, it's like 3 lakh rupees. Everything is like sellable, buyable here. Every job is like in the market. Like you just pay and you get the job. There's no need to interview like what you do. Like there's no
Mhm.
system go.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the subject here of this discussion is to talk more about expectations, because, and this is very important, this project, it's in a way about expectations, because we say this word sucks, and this is how we could fix it. And many people I've seen that they have expectations and they say, yeah, but when is this going to happen? When I want to see this world happening. And I've seen so many people like that sending me emails or commenting, and even someone recently was like, why are you, Theo, so pessimistic? Because I'm sure by 2022 the world is going to change. And I was like, how can you give such an exact date, And they will become
Yeah.
disappointed if they expect for the world to change in such a dramatic way. So that's important. Don't have such expectations. I always tell that to people when they come across Trump project. I say, never expect that this is going to change anything. You just live your life and make like a good use of your life, and do whatever you can to change this world, but never expect if it's going to change, then that's a big surprise, big and positive surprise, but at least you won't be disappointed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
it takes a while to get to such way of thinking. Well, like for me, it was really Jacques lectures which got me into the thinking, and I start to apply it slowly in my life to completely not expect anything. And still, sometimes you expect something. It's like normal, but again, it's not like it was before. So I just imagine how hard for normal people who live a normal life and never get along to such information, and why it's important, how it's hard for them to change their behavior and their understanding of things. and not to expect anything. For me now, when I do something, I try to always not to expect anything, especially when it's not dependent, the results not dependent on me. So, but then again, starting as we discussed before, starting from school to the jobs to every interaction you have, someone also always expects something from you, or you expect from someone.
100%.
Yeah.
And you will always be surprised. There's also always a degree of unpredictability. It's like if I wake up tomorrow and like suddenly there are bombs outside and there's all kind of other stuff and there's no food or whatever, I might not be able to predict that. So you can always, of course, come across things in this world that will be completely unexpected and will hurt you. So I kind of already expect to come across such things in order to prevent like a downfall. So you have to have maybe a degree of paranoia as well. I mean, maybe not, but like sometimes that helps as well, potentially.
In that sense, are expectations unrealistic projections? Because we make projections all the time. I mean, if I wake up tomorrow and everything will be purple, I will be really like fucked up. I will be so scared. Like I will never expect that, you know. But I think maybe that's the difference between projection and expectations. We always project how the world will work, how the world will be tomorrow. But maybe expectations are unrealistic projections, I would say, in a way. I'm not sure.
Or maybe how you
to make a difference.
Yeah, maybe there's a bit of semantics there, but I could see like if it hurts you, then I would say that's the case. Then expectations might be what did you say? Expectations are unrealistic projections, or inaccurate projections as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we have to distinguish. That's why it could be a very tricky subject. Because I've had some discussions with people about this, and they said that's what they said. They said that we always have projections, and I agree with that. We always have projections. How you will behave. I don't expect you to start singing right now. That would be surprising for me, you know. But if you put expectations, this subject in a context, like in the context of this project, like do you expect for this world to improve the way that we explain in this kind of project TROM or the Venus project explains? And I think it makes a lot more sense. And in that sense, in that context, I think people should never have expectations that the world will change dramatically in their lifetime in a positive sense. Like, let's reach the Venus project. Like some people said, let's implement the Venus project. I always had an issue with that approach. I think it's very unrealistic.
That's your expectations. Again, it's a tricky one. Yeah.
But there's also a tricky line between hope and expectations potentially, or like ambition and expectations. Maybe like some people they might confuse or overwrite one with the other. So like if you have hope for the future and a drive towards something and you're setting goals potentially, then they might as well be negatively affected if it doesn't turn out the way you expected it to be.
Okay, so speaking generally, how do you guys think? Do we need to restrict our way we're thinking and receiving the information and expecting things to expect less? Or it's like a normal thing for humans? We just have to learn to do it. Of course, it's enforced by the culture and everything and our environment. But I'm just thinking maybe it's not so bad if you can learn to manage it, so it's not so your expectation not hurting you. As you said, it's really thin line between expectation and hope. Sometimes hope can really help you or push you forward. So I don't know.
Well, how are you feeling with your shift, Dima?
Sorry, with what?
Your shift to your expectational shift, essentially.
Oh yeah, I feel like 100% better, of course.
Yeah, I actually learning about that and kind of from a different aspect and kind of interpersonal relationships and expecting things it's if you're not aware of these things, like you don't know what you don't know, then it's like these concepts can be completely foreign. But when you finally hear them and you're at a point in your life where that information can kind of just like click into everything, that's really useful. So expectation is definitely something that's shifting for me too, and it does set up you know, it can set up this distorted worldview, because you can get, you know, kind of locked into your own mind and then stuck, you know, almost viewing the other person as essentially somebody they're not, whether you're maybe expecting something that they will do and they don't, or that they wouldn't do and they do, kind of things like that. So just evolving that concept of thinking, I guess, with expectations and kind of not eliminating them, and kind of finding that balance between, you know, the ambition and expectation, and the healthy balance, I guess. And that's a dramatic shift in thinking, I think, needs to happen.
Yeah. But sometimes I would also say or add that one reacts to circumstances. Of course, expectations do play a role, but sometimes, regardless of your expectations, you're forced to react based on your background, of course, to certain circumstances. And if there's hardcore scarcity, or if there's a lot of unpredictability, then there will be problems. For example, if like the past year, I maybe would have wanted to worked more on TROM than I did, or on, you know, my videos and so on, but I wasn't able to because of unpredictable circumstances, kind of, and forcing me not to be able to do that, and then causing me to maybe be a bit frustrated. And that can then happen as well sometimes within this, you know, trade-based system, whenever there's like economic pressure or scarcity and so on, and force, then you might be pushed into having, but to, you know, suffer the consequences because you can't fulfill your needs in a way.
To get fooled by like whatever you project, and the environment will change in a way that you couldn't predict. So that will push you into maybe disappointment, because your projections might be calculated and okay and sane, but there are things that you cannot see in the environment that could change that situation, and then you will end up in a situation that you say, okay, I'm disappointed because I couldn't do what I had in mind to do, like you explained.
But that's exactly the thing. It's about predictions. When we're building our expectation, we expect something, we predict something. And we don't know what happened. If you're speaking about other humans, you never know how this person will react. Even if you know it's like your, I don't know, wife, or it's your closest friend, and he was like 100 times he was reacting the same, but maybe 101st time he will do differently. You cannot expect that with humans. Yeah,
exactly. And ultimately, I remember Fresco in many of his talks, he was saying what you ultimately want is accurate predictability in many regards. So you want to be able to like accurately predict the future whenever you do something. For example, if you're going to have to catch the bus, and the bus comes more or less continuously every 1 minute, you're not going to be late, then it's all okay. But if the bus is leaving at 9 o'clock sharp, and you come 9:05, and there's no bus coming thereafter, then you're kind of fucked. So it can also kind of be enhanced by the structure of society.
The more you know about the present, and the saner your information in your brain, the better your projections will be, of course. Because I'm not going to say that I expect for the society to change in 2022, like that email. I'll never say that, based on what I know about the world. Maybe that person will be right for some reasons. I still think it's an unrealistic expectation. And if this person is right, then for me it will be a pleasant surprise. If this person is wrong, then for this person it will be a very unpleasant surprise, probably, because this person is putting a lot of efforts into this. As far as I understood, is very into this, and that's the problem here. That's the problem that I see. Not in general, because in general about projections, like we talked about, of course you expect this world to be in a way or another. It's not like there are many surprises tomorrow. But if we talk about projections, we should talk about projections in the coming years, and in general about the society, how the society will look like, and stuff like that. because for tomorrow, I think pretty much all of us will be, only a few of us will be disappointed tomorrow based on our expectations. It will be probably the same like it was today, but in 10 years, if people go into philosophy and say, okay, how do you see the world being in 10 years, in 20 years, it's okay to project and say, maybe I think it will be this way. But if you put too much emotions into it and you get too involved into that and you truly expect that this is going to happen, I think that's the problem. If you make hypotheses and say, maybe this will happen, maybe it will not, that's a completely different thing.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Yeah, you put in a good word, everything.
Yeah, and that's a great thing with science, because if you get emotionally involved, if you're like, all right, I really believe and I expect this bridge to withhold this and this amount of people, and then it collapses, it makes no sense. Whereas you test the hypothesis and test different materials, this and that, and then you see what might or might not work, and you're still like, I'm still uncertain. We're gonna have to test it out and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you tested everything, if you take the scientific approach and you've done a lot of studies and testing, and then you put it out in real life, it may be, be different. There may be, will be snow going or rain or, different temperature, and something will collapse. Your bridge will collapse, but something unexpected happens. So, but yeah, it's definitely better to have this kind of approach. You kind of predict, but you don't believe in it. I mean, you kind of accept the idea of failure as well. Yeah. So it's like 50-50.
It's so better illustrated. Sorry, just one point. It's so better illustrated in missions to other planets or to asteroids and so forth, because there they put a lot of predictability ahead. They send a spacecraft that they expect to arrive in 10 years, for example, to a planet or to an asteroid. And this is a lot of prediction, like 10 years, it's a long time. And I've seen lots of documentaries and I've read about this. And of course, those scientists are emotionally involved in that, but because they are scientifically minded, they know that they are it's a 3%, sometimes they are so accurate that they are 3.5 to 1% chances of failure. And they will take that into account. So if it fails, of course, it will be an emotionally bad for them, but they they understand at least that it's going to fail.
But then I imagine if you calculate it and think, okay, it's just 1.9% of failure, and it failed at the end. How would you feel?
But that's really the beautiful thing I really like about Richard Feynman. I think he was also mentioned in the TROM documentary about how he believes in nothing. He only believes in degrees of certainty. So it's like, I don't know anything really. I'm just a little more certain about certain things and a little less certain about other things. And that's it. And that as well makes you less vulnerable to just, believing so intensely in something, and then it all collapses. Your whole reality collapses.
Yeah, and I think the example that I gave, it's also maybe easier for those scientists to detach themselves emotionally, because it's not something that will have a huge impact in their day-to-day life. But maybe if you say your kid has only 3% chances for the cancer to come back, like that spacecraft, and it does come back, maybe it's a lot easier to get emotionally trapped in this kind of prediction and say okay, it has 97% chances of being cancer-free in 5 years, and then cancer gets back, and of course you'll have a lot more of a punch in your stomach, in your emotional stomach basically, so that's also important to add condiments to this discussion.
I think it's tough. It's tough when there's such percentage from one side 97 and for other 3. I think it's really hard to accept if those 3 happens, which you don't accept. Like for me, it's my personal view. It's better just to look at 50 and 50%. You never know how it can be. Then it's somehow, if it's failed, it's easier to accept. I don't know, for me.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast the other day about this man who crossed, for the first time, broke a record and crossed the Antarctica by carrying a sled with all kind of food and equipment and so on. And it took him something like 54 days or something. and he needed to predict how much food and fuel and resources he needed to put on that sled in order to get him across, including his tent and so on. And if he didn't predict it correctly, he would have died because he wouldn't have had the necessary resources. So there were many like people involved in organizing the necessary resources, calculating the weight, calculating what food to bring, how much fuel, and so on, in order to decrease the percentage of like things going wrong. And yeah, that was very interesting as well in terms of expectations.
Mm-hmm. But then again, you never know, especially if you go into Arctic. Yeah, what weather will be. Maybe there will be some cracks, and you couldn't, you know, just get over them, or
Yeah,
some others,
exactly.
some polar bears or whatever.
Exactly, for sure.
It's such a tough subject, because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, fuck, I'm trapped in this kind of, I'm not sure what to say that is, you know, well defined, because as we talked about, you can see this expectation topic from so many different kind of perspectives. And of course, it's tricky. So to me, it's, if you take the word expectations and throw it out of the window, and you say, okay, we talk, the way that we should approach this should be scientific projections about outcomes. And you may say, okay, we are more sure about this and less sure about that. Then that's the only way that we can deal with the future, in my view. You know, then you have the other layer, like how you interpret that as a human being, how you interpret a cancer result or not. It's tricky to say much about that. I don't know. Depends from human being to human being. I don't know.
No, exactly.
Yeah. And linking back to what you were saying earlier about parents, it's like that's why most parents push their kids to become a doctor or to become a lawyer or to become something like that, because in their world, it's like if you don't become that, if you become that, then your chances of survival in their brain are predicting like their chances of survival will be much higher than if they now become something, you know, doing something online or something creative and so on. Those are far more insecure jobs in today's world or in terms of surviving. So I guess there's that element to it as well that's pushed by this system in terms of safety, yeah, or economic security.
Yeah.
But I think also the culture playing a huge role, and it's every culture. It may be different, but such things like what neighbors will think about you, you know, or if you invite somebody to visit you, you have to clean everything. Stuff like that. And sometimes maybe they don't care, but it happens all in your head, you know. And you just do some actions and try to be better than you are, or whatever it might be. In every culture, it's like different weird things. Yeah. But that's what happens from you, and you think they expect something from you, when in reality, maybe not, maybe don't. They don't care, you know. It's like your life is total mess.
Exactly.
Because we created this society of people judging other people all the time through TV shows, through the school that labels you this or that, and we grow up with such values. And with people who are like a bit simple-minded, I will say, who care about what other people dress, because if you comment about other people and you blah blah blah, look how he's dressed or she's dressed, then you will be stressed as well, because you will think that they think the same, you know. So you will project the same kind of attitude through them, you know. So it says, I think it says a lot more about you than it says about them. You may be right, but you already have this kind of values, you know, else you will not care that much.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the important part to also mention is the fact that what helped me so much is understanding that environment and culture shapes behavior. And whenever I look at a person who maybe like try to fuck me over, or like I'm, oh shit, that was messed up, or the university is messed up, I don't like this professor or whatever, but only maybe I need to shift my expectations, which were culturally induced. But also this professor could have been me if I was raised the way he was and under the same circumstances as he was, and therefore I've shifted from hate and anger and fear to understanding, trying to understand their perspective, their situation, their culture, and that is the healthy part of this movement, and also just trying to understand the world that we live in rather than react to it emotionally.
Yeah, that was a good point. It's what I was saying. It's the more scientific you are about the present, and the way that the world works, what you know about that in the scientific way, the less probably, or it will change a lot, this kind of projections, this kind of knee-jerk reactions, like, oh, this fucking criminal thief,
Yeah.
you know, they stole my phone, you know. Yeah, but if you understand that something from the environment pushed them to do that, and it could be you, then you will change your attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about upbringing, how they brought up.
Yeah, and that reinforces consideration of the other person, which then pushes inquiry and like, okay, trying to understand human behavior and understanding, okay, what elements, you know, cause them to behave in this certain way.
People get very disappointed with politics, for example.
Yeah.
Because they expect so much from those people, because they don't understand how the society works. They don't understand that it doesn't matter who you elect. There are so many interests there, and they will push the same kind of system. And they get so disappointed that they fight with each other and they get into a lot of troubles.
Completely. People kill themselves, go through suicides, depression, all kind of other things because they don't understand the larger mechanisms at play. And every 4 years they repeat the same shit, and
they give them expectations. Like every 4 years they push more expectations.
Exactly.
Yeah, so generally I think we should less expect things but more do stuff, and just for the sake of doing. So the trade-based society forced us to trade always. If we make something, we're waiting something in return. But if we shift our values, if we see some problem, let's say, and we not expect that somebody will fix it, well, we can start and think on our own what we can do, at least something. Do something is better than just, complain or expect others people to solve the problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when it comes to say.
Yeah, but it's not, I think, really possible in trade-based society, because everything is based on exchange, and as soon as you exchange, you will expect something in return.
It's hard, but like I'm going through that right now. So like kind of like how Tio's kind of trying to do the TROM project through kind of like living the values he's trying to preach. So it's like trying to be involved with money as little as possible, but you're still pigeonholed into it because of the way the system's rigged. It's like, I want to steer the system towards no longer using money. I need money to do that. But I'm struggling with that right now with kind of like maybe trades I have with my friends or something, where they might have something that I need or want. But that I'd almost force a trade mentality instead of even just asking for the thing. I'd almost force it to be viewed as, I'm going to give this guy something because he's going to expect something, because why is he going to give it away for nothing? If I'm not going to do it, why is he? So what's happening now is I'm foregoing things, like I'm starting to give away things and do it myself, and then just trying to see how that goes. And now I'm starting to get back. These guys, it's just kind of like a natural thing. So it's like I'm still getting the same. We're still having like the same exchange and interaction, but it's way more positive, and there's no expectation, no almost like conflict when you're almost asking friends for money or maybe a favor or something. There's a tension, because it's like maybe they don't want to do that.
But that's exactly your expectations. They're telling you, oh, maybe, yeah. They certainly expect something now from me. Or it's like the presents. If somebody gives you presents, it feels like, oh, okay, I have to give something back.
Christmas, exactly. It was even as recent as that. And then, just like, it's like I got them something, and even though it was starting to eke in that I was starting to try not to expect something, Christmas has been just such an ingrained thing and big thing for 30 years of my life that receiving nothing or receiving something that I don't feel is like an equal trade or exchange or whatever, it's like it doesn't sit well inside me. It's like instead of framing it that way, it's like I got something, and like
And the other people are like, oh, and you're a jerk because you don't give anything back.
Like, Jesus.
In other words, it's like how to become a jerk, right?
Yeah,
Like,
really.
don't give back.
It can distort your worldview so much, and just like I can remember just a kid, and like you play with your toys, and I wouldn't share with anyone. I'd like, no, I'll trade you this toy for that toy, because I wanted it to be mine.
Oh, capitalism.
Yeah, no. It is awful. It is awful.
Because maybe somebody gives you a present just because he expects another present back.
Yeah, no, it's a vicious cycle, and yeah, definitely not a mindset, not a healthy mindset at all, and it is very it's almost like creates like a predatory kind of thinking in these exchanges, because it's like you're not going to purposely try to screw yourself over. You're going to try and make the trade as equal or in your favor as possible. So it's like it's the guys, it's the businessmen going into the backroom deal, and they got the bats behind their back, but they're shaking hands. It's like yeah, this is all business.
I remember a funny story from my family. So they always for like birthdays they give money, like to the relative and their friends. They just put money in an envelope and give a present. And it always was if somebody when I was a kid give me money on my birthday. My mom always come and ask, okay, how much did this person give to you? How much this person? So she wrote down, and she knows, like when they got birthday, she has to give exactly the same amount.
Yeah, that's it right there.
That's so direct. That's like a completely trade-based gift system.
Is that even a gift at that point? It's like you're literally just, I'm gonna give you $20 now, and then you give it back to me later. Like what?
Yeah.
What is that?
And there was funny situation when there's like my father and my stepbrother. They've got birthday on the same day, and when they meet and celebrate like two birthdays, they just exchange the same amount of money.
Maybe they exchange dollars with euros.
No, it's not possible. No. It had to be exactly the same.
The system reinforced such things so much, and especially online. If you look at online, it's almost like people cannot do something online unless they expect for something, for some engagement, for some views. For if I post a video on YouTube and I get 0 views, then most of the people, I will say, they will be very disappointed to not get any views. So they push that because they push that with advertising, first of all, because people upload on YouTube and they make money out of that. So of course it's a direct relationship between what you expect, between I put this, I expect so many views because I make so much money, you see? So this chain will push even more expectations and more unrealistic expectations, and people will detach themselves from what they want to do to what they expect people will give back to them, like YouTube give back to them, comments give back to them, engagements give back to them, so it distorts completely our world, and we get back again to this trade.
Completely. And a lot of these expectations, like you just said, is to do with the system reinforcing the self, reinforcing this like egotism, and everyone is like just building themselves up and hyping themselves up because they think they're so self-important, because that's what the whole system pushes. And that's why you have all these Instagram people and all these, wannabe celebrities and football players, and everyone is just so self-obsessed and having so many expectations regarding their own self, rather than shifting that into a giving type mentality or compassion mentality, where you give and you don't expect anything in return, and whatever the fuck happens, whatever happens, which is a bit of a healthier mindset. But that's a trade-free type of way of thinking in a way.
But then again, if we're speaking about such narcissism and platforms as Instagram, when people just basically became famous of taking pictures of their face all the time in different situations, but they also expect a lot of things from that,
Yeah.
When they don't do it for themselves. Basically, they expect people to like it, to share, to interact, and
it's a trade for attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And youngsters these days, it's really a tough situation for them. You have to be like that, or otherwise you'll be rejected from your surrounding. And what values we have? We always have to promote ourselves. We become the products.
Yeah.
And then when you are product, you have to, you have to trade yourself. You have to expect something back from what you are doing.
Yeah.
And then we going back again to the aims and purpose why we do something, and why would ever you do a selfie just to show yourself? I mean, I can understand if you make pictures of some event or I don't know, some nature or something, when there is something in this frame which brings value.
I remember the old photos and the old cameras when I went with my family holidays, and we had like 20 shots to take, because like the physical thing, like, and we did the best out of them. We made every photo to mean something, and we never expected like anyone to like them, and to see how many comments we get. But today, when people take photos, it's almost like it's nothing to do with the photo itself, but to the reactions, what they will expect when they go home, or they post directly, what they get back. If they get no, or even if they get less, because if you put photos on Instagram and you get like 100 likes, and then you put a photo and that gets 50, that's also a problem, because you expect 100 based on your previous posts, So it's a very tricky.
It's all psychology of there. Like, if they want more and more and more, like, it's how they want to accept society that we are more.
Because they are made by the system to want more and more and more. It's a celebrity system where every celebrity is so promoted, and of course, kids are growing up with such values. Of course, they want to be the next superstar. What could they want to,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's putting their faith and their identity in the approval of others, which is so dangerous, because you like do everything for everyone else to clap, and when you speak for the approval or take a photo for somebody else rather than the actual enjoyment of the event or for yourself, and just because you like doing it, then it becomes dangerous.
And that's exactly how such likes and shares shifts your attention, shifts your values and the stuff you're doing. As Theo said, you put one picture, let's say with a duck, I don't know, whatever, and it's got 100 views, and then you put other picture with some, let's say, social interactions or something, and it's got 5. So you think, okay, I have to make more picture with the ducks. So you start doing it, but it's not what you actually want to do.
Yeah.
You do it because you're forced to kind of with this values of likes and interactions and so on, and then monetizing goes in and stuff like that. So for creative people, it's really disaster these days, and I struggle with this a lot. And I wrote this book about entertainment, and it's really cover this topic in quite deeply. But I know a lot of creative people, they really suffer because of that, because they art or their ideas, and they could bring really important topic and ideas. They just cannot do it anymore, because like some stupid stuff or stuff you never expect people will like get a lot of attention, but you don't really want to to share it.
For me, what amuses me all the time when I think about this is that when some girl marry, their girlfriends choose their dress. All the time is like that. They're like the closest friends. If I'm a girl and I get married, my closest friends will choose my wedding dress. Usually, that's how it is. Like in Romanian, the people I know. And then when my friend gets married, we choose the dress. And it's never like what dress I like if I am a girl, what dress the other likes, and all of them are like that. In a sense, no girl will wear the dress that they like. Will wear the dress that the other likes. It's
but
crazy.
they always choose the same.
Don't say that. How can you say that? They're so different, Dima. You don't have the eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the tough one. I mean, yeah,
For sure.
why we choose something, why we do something.
But then you can also play the devil's advocate, and you can say that even if she chooses what she likes to wear, or like if I do what I like to do, but maybe I like to kill people, you know, or I like to do different things like that. So it's like culturally induced. So it's like there's the element of also, like you said, why do we choose to do things? And really, you don't really choose to do anything. You're caused to do everything you do. And this notion of free will also doesn't exist. Uh, Everyone is just shoved by causality, and no one can be held responsible for their actions because the different elements and circumstances they were in forced them to behave in a certain way. So that's also important to note whenever you deal with people.
Yeah, but it's purely cultural stuff. I mean, if you would grown up in a system where people get used to killing other, that will be like really something to be proud of. That will be normal.
Exactly. Yeah.
You'll be expected for this to happen.
Yeah.
Your parents would expect you to kill someone.
Or they will
sure.
expect for their kid to be killed if the kid does something wrong. But in today's society, they will not expect that because it's a different kind of culture, you know.
Yeah.
So this shifts with culture as well a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so what can we say more about the subject?
You don't expect that anyone will say something. It's
Yeah, we can
really
get into
twisted
this kind of
topic.
creepy kind of thing, like Inception.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, like maybe we should wrap up if anyone wants to add something else. Like for me, it was before the talk was interesting, like to hear your thoughts on why we're thinking in a such way, why we're expecting anything, and now it's became more clear. Of course, it's because of the trade as usual stuff.
Yeah, mainly, I would say.
Yeah, of course, not only, but yeah, mainly. As I said, all of our interactions are based either on trade or barter or exchange. And
if we eliminate that, and we imagine a world where there are less and less trades, almost to the point of extinction, how will expectations be in that kind of world? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good one. It's hard to predict. I don't know.
I think we also have to have a scientific worldview in that kind of world. It's not only about eliminating the trades. We have to, like those scientists that I told you about, like they do missions that are, because even those scientists, they are so involved into such missions. It's not only the outer space, but for example, right now they are building, if you know the Large Hadron Collider, they smash protons to see what's inside. They are building one that is, I think, 2-3 times bigger than this. And I was listening to a podcast, and it was a very involved scientist, and they asked, okay, so when will this project that you work on be finished? And she said in 2093 or something like that. So in almost like 80 years, okay?
Wow.
But she's still involved. She was, because the guy there was like, wow, and are you still motivated to do this? I said, of course, because we learn new things, and we learn how to like deal with this fact that it takes so long, of course. So this is a mindset that we have to promote.
Yeah, long-term mindset. It seems so unrealistic in today. Short attention span. You know?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. But in a future society, would we expect less? I don't know. Is it really? Maybe. Yeah. Our thinking will be more balanced, and we
but
won't be
I think
so...
imagine if we got rid of the creatures like Facebook and Google and this kind of nasty world that expects you to do something and to win something back. I think it will have a huge impact to live in such a world, because today even little kids they play these games. I've seen little kids like 4 years old. They play games, and all of the games are like, hey, if you want, you can pay to go to the next level, or watch this ad, click here, do this. All the time it's like that. They expect for the kid to click there, watch this, send money to them. You know, it's a very polluting world.
Yeah. As I mentioned before, it's like all culture. It's all based on expectations, starting from movies, from animations to the games and everything, from superstars, from sport. It's always based around expectation. You know, people expect something from you.
Do you think it's a difference between culture and system?
No, I think it's
Same thing.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, capitalism is just the underlying reinforcer, if you will. Enforce.
So it's in a way the system pushing the culture?
Yeah, like you have it in one of your books, is like which bubble is bigger, like the trade bubble, and then the culture is like within the trade bubble in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Yeah.
I would say 50-50.
It depends. I don't know. It's they're intertwined. I don't think we can separate and say this is
can't
trade.
separate, exactly. Yeah, you can't separate them.
Unless you have a post-scarcity culture where there's no trade, then I guess
even that will be intertwined with the culture around
or the system. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The system and the culture around it. And let's talk just a little bit about religion, because religion is the biggest how to say, it pushes expectations so much in terms of miracles, in terms of whatever. Okay.
Yeah, religion is the biggest problem of everything. It's the main shit.
I think in India it's really actually...
If you tell something about if we try to explain something to people, they say God will do that, God will do that. I don't know about you guys, you are from another religion, but in India, if girls wear something they don't cover their face with that dupatta, na, so it's unreligious and their parents will punish them and shit.
Wow.
Religion is the main problem of everything.
Yeah, in India it's really strong.
Yeah, I think it's like when you break your leg, religion says that you should pray for your leg to get better. And in a future society, and the trade world also pushes that kind of, the doctor will make it better and this and that maybe, and it puts reliability on other things. But the key thing is to have a scientific mindset and to know that if you can do this and this, if you can build crutches and other things, you can then alleviate the problems with your leg, and it empowers inquiry and problem solving type mentality.
Yeah. What about doctors who said, I did everything I could, now it's in God's hands?
It's like people don't want to change their mind, their old ways of thinking.
Yeah, it's really, and religion bonds, they're so strong. It's really tough to even
I myself, I don't follow any religion. My religion is humanity. If some new information comes to me, I'll change my beliefs. I don't believe in my previous beliefs. If scientifically that new thing is presented in me and it's proven, you understood what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
I think religion is very good at creating expectations and extremely bad at projections, because it cannot project, it cannot tell you how the future will be, like science. It can never tell that, but it can create so many expectations from people. And that's how science evolved, because it replaced this I'm expecting for the rain to come and the things to grow from the ground with predictions. Religion is very, very bad at predictions, and this is where it fails all the time. Science can tell you where the moon will be with a massive accuracy, you'll exactly like that in 150 years or something like that. Religion can never do that, but religion is expecting from people to have expectations about the future.
Yeah, because it's never gets updated.
Yeah, I think that's the key point that you just made there. That it is completely faith-based, and science is much more accurate and can help people better predict the future and decrease the depression.
It can hurt people, because if you expect that God will solve your cancer, then if you don't go to the hospital to fix it in a way, or if God will do whatever, miracles, then you will get hurt all the time. And even if you don't admit it, perhaps and say like, oh, it was God's plan, to not cure me from this cancer, you'll still die, shit will still happen, you'll get physically
but you can blame yourself for not praying too much,
But it's the devil as well at work trying to fuck with you.
There's so many excuses. You can never go around such things with religious people.
Yeah, that's the most interesting thing. It's when you see a religious person, it's really hard to have open conversation with him, even if you don't accuse him, or don't attack him, just to have, kind of neutral conversation. So about God, it's not possible, really. It's very rare when religious persons are open-minded. Usually, if they're open-minded, they're not so religious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the result of being probably open-minded.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to add anything, if not, we can.
Oh yeah, that's just by statistic. I'm a fan of statistics. It's like religion is still growing, and it's growing quite rapidly, and Christianity and Islam is really on top. And today, more than ever, people are believing God. And at first, it was really strange to me. I was thinking, okay, we live in such advanced society today, but no. It's still got the power and influence on the people. Maybe people, maybe like huge part of the people who are considered religious, they're not so deep into it anymore. But still, they've got some beliefs based on some few thousand-year-old book and about.
If you expect that and project that, this God Almighty, whatever it is, He knows everything. He knows what will happen. He knows if we are going to die, where we are going to end up. Then why should we do anything then? Why should we do anything if that's God's plan? So it's a way to just stop the progress completely. Even modern religions, they're like, okay, whatever God wants, but we also need science to see how tomorrow will look like, to see an epidemic or a disease, an outbreak or something. We need that because they realize that we need science to predict the future, of course.
There's a good question in the chat. What about traditions? I think traditions are passed down expectation.
How is tradition different from culture?
I think it's part of the culture, and it's just some act of doing something. You don't really have a clue why you're doing it. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, you want to say something? Because traditions, what are traditions? Depends from culture to culture and from year to year. Because give me an example of a tradition, because it's a tradition for the past maybe 100 years, and even that changes with time. And I don't know if people want to do such things. Okay,
there's so many stupid traditions. Person died, you have to go to his grave and bring an egg or drink vodka. Or if you go somewhere for a long trip, you have to sit for 1 minute at home before you go out. It's like no any logical reason, but the people still do it.
Maybe they're just like culturally reinforced rules that like you have to follow that are just pushed.
Yeah, but that's tradition.
And sometimes because it's so easy to lie to ourselves. We get some reinforcement if we pray for something to happen, and from a coincidence something happens, then that reinforces our expectations, and we associate that. Or people who don't know much about science, they associate those events and they say, okay, maybe I should pray more.
Something is there. Like they will think something is there.
Yeah, exactly. And they will come up with all kind of different explanations for why things happen.
And they
don't really understand.
Something. Yeah, that's what they don't understand. Other people that understand.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing with spirituality and metaphysics as well. and people making up all kind of different nonsensical claims about why things happen, and it doesn't push understanding and science.
Yeah, that's the basic thing here. We have to be scientifically minded, one point. And second point, we have to change the structure of the society, because this kind of trade-based society is pushing us to have all kinds of unrealistic projections that I will call expectations, or let's say unrealistic expectations. And yeah, if you solve those two, the more that you solve them, the less you will hurt people emotionally, or people will hurt themselves emotionally from projections about the future.
So it's again about education. The more open-minded, the more educated person, the better he structure his thoughts and the way he perceives the reality, and the better he can cope with expectations and information.
Yeah, it is education. Maybe it's like you say 50-50, because even if I'm educated, as I said, even if I'm educated, if tomorrow I'll be kicked out of this house for some reasons, I will be like, fuck, really disappointed.
Yeah, I've got this approach for a while when I started just really to perceive everything as 50-50, and it works for me. I don't know, is it really smart or no, or good, but I don't feel bad if something really bad happens, and when something good happens, that's cool. And you never know.
Yeah, I was just thinking of a funny comedy skit where like you show this idea and like you getting shot or something, and you get like shot and you're like, I'm cool, like I expected this shit to happen or whatever, and you just like bleed out and you have no emotional reaction because it's
expected.
So, but will that strangle the your involvement, the way that you care about the world and the future and yourself? Will that strangle will that how to say, if you, Dima, have 50-50 and you say, okay, I don't quite care, is that diminishing your motivation in certain aspects?
Not motivation, no, but maybe excitement about the things. Sometimes you're not so pre-excited before the things occur. Like before, let's say as a musician, tomorrow we're gonna release our new music video, which we filmed, I don't know, 7 months, and put a lot of money, and you're so excited, and because you expect something big happens. And when you kind of 50-50, you don't have this excitement anymore, because you kind of couldn't afford. If you'll be too excited before, then maybe you will be disappointed. So you're more kind of into a neutral state.
Yeah. Don't you like that?
I'm okay, but my wife always think, "Oh, you like nothing." You always have the same emotion. You don't care about it. It's okay for me, but let's say she couldn't do like that. For her, it's important to kind of experience the moment and be super happy, and then sometimes she could be really sad. So, and for me, I found this kind of balance in between, and I feel comfortable, really.
And I think that if you focus on what you do now, for example, your music, the fact that you compose a music or you release a new album, if you are so happy with the album, I don't think you will even think about, okay, will it succeed or will it not? You just don't care about such things.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens with we just released a few months ago with my new band an album, and I had exactly this mindset that I like the product, I like the songs, how we made it super cool, and for me, it's already it's kind of made the purpose why I do this already satisfied and already kind of excited in a way. So this releasing, it's like the second stage. It was secondary for me. I really wanted to get this work done, and all the works which depends on me or other guys were done perfectly. So yeah.
And this is such a new mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, from today. People don't understand. Even for me, like when I write books, I write a book and I'm so happy with it, I release it, I start a new book. I don't even care. I mean, if I get feedback, okay, I will deal with feedback. I will feel great if people say great things about it, and then I will take into account the negative comments. But I don't have this kind of mindset to expect for people to, now to read the book or something like that. Like I don't expect when I do a joke to hear like laughing tracks,
That's a good example.
Yeah.
But would you tell jokes second time if nobody would laugh?
Sometimes I laugh like alone when I think about a joke. I'm like, what? That's so funny. The best jokes that I've heard are not from online with many views, are from like friends and situations, the funniest things. And even for videos, in my view, because I curate videos for several years, the best videos, they don't have many views, they don't have lots of feedback, they don't have, and they're so well made and so interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not a reflection of views, and likes are not a reflection of quality.
Totally not, no.
The opposite could be happening.
Yeah.
Probably it's
Yeah.
true. Okay, if you want, we can go to the news because we can discuss some stuff there as well.
Okay.
And let me see. Which one is first, Cody?
The lab-grown meat being
Lab-grown meat.
yeah, more harmful, potentially more harmful to the environment than what we're doing right now with factory farming.
Oh, is it?
What they're saying is basically at the current levels of technology for meat production, this artificial meat production means that it would produce more CO2 than essentially the equivalent amount of factory farms. But they're basically saying that as the technology, it's hard to believe that that's not going to evolve and get more efficient and obviously less harmful towards the environment. But just in its current state, is kind of more harmful in its current. So if we're looking at it as purely a solution to climate change, then it's basically saying that this isn't the magic bullet or whatever. Not in its
and I think it ties very well with the expectation topic, because people who don't understand how the society, trade-based society works, they expect for such solutions to be the silver bullet or to be the solution, like lab-grown meat or electric cars. But if you don't get the full picture, then of course your projections will be wrong, because in this society, even this kind of meat production will be taken advantage of. Maybe it will be much better than current solutions, but I'm sure it will be creating a lot of bad stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that because of the understanding of the entire structure, like you guys have as well, you're less surprised about things, so it doesn't affect you as much, and maybe therefore there's a bit more of like a neutral tone and a neutral emotion towards things, not pessimism, but just
just neutral. Yeah.
But I'm surprised because Dima was a bit surprised. So it's not 50-50 in this.
You're right.
No, I don't really care about this artificial meat. I just heard that. Yeah, I was surprised that it's already kind of down on a massive scale.
Yeah.
Because the last information I had, it was they just planning to do something. There was some tests on.
Another one? Do you have another one?
Yeah. So this is about the impersonation and identity theft risk on GitHub.
Yeah, GitHub it's a place where people put open source projects, and why I chose this news is because even in our world, even if you make things that are open source, people can tweak with that, and they can steal stuff from you, and they can do bad stuff, even if it's open source, because you don't have so many eyes in today's system that can basically watch everything, like every piece of code. So this is a reminder of that, because this is another expectation. Open source is going to change the world. And from what I know, I don't agree with that.
I think it's certainly better than like proprietary, but like people don't understand that, like, just because you have access to looking at the source code doesn't mean that you don't know, like you understand how it works necessarily, or that somebody does, or that somebody's done it recently. So
and it's also that in today's society, people want to get something from you, want your bitcoins.
Yeah.
Cody, they want your bitcoins.
No.
Okay, another one.
Piracy is driven by availability and price. So people prefer not to break the law, and I can attest to this. Is that kind of, they're saying that these streaming services, like Spotify, Netflix, kind of things, it's never been that people don't want to pay for the products and want to steal them or download them for free. It's been lots of things are region locked, or prices are very distorted, or the media is not available in your country, and these streaming services and stuff like VPNs are kind of
Scarcity.
Yeah, it's artificial scarcity, but it's like digital media. It's like you've just put a digital gate up and a paywall. Anyways, so like they're just saying that the streaming services, if they're cheap enough and they're providing to you an effective service that people, they don't want to download all their music or all their videos, if that service is available to them at a reasonable price, that they're more than happy to do that. But that's just not.
I think they discovered that water is wet, because of course, if people have access to what they need and they want, and it's cheaper and cheaper, of course they don't want to steal. People in this world think so wrongly about this, of course. And this is just a showcase of how if you make, even if they are paid, these systems and these services and are trade based, the cheaper they are, and more available for people, of course, it reduces the piracy, because people is more comfortable for them to give $10 a month to have access to so many songs instead of going on so many websites and download the songs.
Oh yeah, way more effective. And then like they're offering things like kind of it's data harvesting and stuff, but they're using it to your advantage and being like, you like these things, so maybe you like these things. So that is kind of factored into like your price. It's like, to me, for Spotify, I'm happy to pay it because it actually spits back out to me music that I like, and I don't have to go digging and searching for it, because it knows so much about me.
Because you don't use MusicWave.
I don't use MusicWave.
MusicWave.com, free music.
Let's go.
So you stop trading.
The next article is Ollie, the 3D printed autonomous shuttle.
We wrote about this in one of our books about transportation. This is like a showcase of how you can have an autonomous car that also has printed parts. Lots of parts are printed with 3D printers. So they are testing it now in different parts of the world. It is limited to like 15 kilometers an hour, but it's still like they are pushing such technologies more and more. From a technological perspective, it's a great news, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it now possible to drive it somewhere, like in some campuses in universities?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're testing it.
Yeah, there's two of them driving around the campus there at low speeds or whatever. And I guess anyone can just ride it if they want.
For now, because it's in testing, so they need the data.
They need guinea pigs.
Free guinea pigs, free.
The next article. Scientists reproduce the origins of life on the ocean floor.
I think this also is connected with expectations, because we how did life started on this planet? This is such a big question, and religion is always like taking advantage of the fact that no one has an answer to this, and they say, "Oh, we don't have any answer. It might be God," And now they are doing it's a 9-year research, and they are proving how certain molecules are kind of like in correct or helpful environment situation, like at the bottom of the ocean where the water is very warm because lava it's going from the inside of the earth. All of these molecules, they are proving that they can form organic molecules, and those organic molecules can transform into cells and life. So it's an interesting research that we are getting closer and closer to answering that question. And it's not because we project, it's not because we expect the God to have created life, but because we ask questions and we do experiments to see what can confirm our hypothesis. We have many hypotheses. The one that will confirm it is the true hypothesis. Okay, I think we have like 2 more.
Last one. The electric container ships. And I was actually kind of watching some Thunderfoot, and our battery technology basically. So what they were saying in this article is we want to use electric container ships to ship cargo, but that the amount of batteries that we need to store on said ship is basically like half the ship.
Will sink the ship.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very counterproductive. So it's like gas has this unique advantage in where as you use it evaporates. So you're using, it's kind of almost like a synergistic energy source.
It's like you use a battery and you throw it away. You use one, you throw it away. You use that one.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Yeah,
good idea. So you should propose it.
A decomposable battery.
Yeah.
In the ocean.
Yeah, just
yeah.
Lots of space in there.
No, but they will find it. Yeah.
But it's a very interesting news because you see, we need this electric green kind of future, but we don't have a storage medium that is more efficient today than this petrol, this oil, this whatever you call it. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Of course, it's solvable. I mean, if we don't have this trade-based society that they have to transport so much shit across the ocean, probably we wouldn't see this as a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to say. Maybe we don't need to ship so much stuff.
Can I say something? Excuse me.
Yeah, that's sure.
Like there's a video on the YouTube. Is there any way I can share a link? Like there's a free energy generator. If you seen that video, it's like magnetic. Like the solar works only when sun, but the magnetic power works 24/7. We don't even need to store the energy.
I don't think that there is ever possible to have free energy.
Like any of you using computer right now. Just go to the YouTube and search for the free energy generator. Are they claiming that the energy doesn't come from anywhere? No. Like, did you study science? Like, it's totally possible. And once you see that video, you will understand the whole prospect of that video. Just search it once on the YouTube.
You can leave it on the live chat. But to mention this, I've seen many videos that say free energy. We can get free energy in the sense that
no. Like it's totally possible. Like I studied science. I know how it works. Actually, I'm trying to make a prototype of it, but I didn't get all the resources about it. I got some such stuff, but it's still some stuff is pending. Actually, I'm making it, but it's already there on the YouTube. Like people made it. Some person from the Pakistan and from Germany, they already made it and showed on the YouTube.
Yeah, but okay, Seb, say.
Yeah, it's really possible. It's very great way. If you try to search it, free energy generator magnetic.
Magnetic energy.
Magnets can reduce the friction, so you can get a more efficient energy system.
People think that solar is the future, but not, because solar power requires batteries. Batteries are so much wastage. They create so much garbage. But with magnetic power, we don't need anything. No solar power, no batteries. It will provide us power 24/7.
If we are talking about energy, then the energy has to come from somewhere. It doesn't matter if it's from the sun or from the ground. There is no perpetual machine that works on itself.
No. Actually, you didn't understand. You have to understand the concept of it. The magnet attract different poles, but you search it on YouTube. How can I send you link?
Maybe I've seen, because I've seen many. I'm not going to project, of course. I will watch the video after the live stream. But I really want to point out that there is no energy coming from nowhere. Even when you put magnets, there are some people who put some magnets, and they say because magnets attract or repel, they will use this force. They will use this force to create a machine that will produce energy. But what they don't realize is that even this machine produces friction and produces heat. And this is lost. So it's lost in a way that you cannot create a perpetual machine from anything.
Yeah,
it goes against the laws of laws of nature. You cannot create
Actually,
energy
we
out of
created
nothing.
it. I myself created it. We are some few friends. We created it and it worked. I'm
Go check out the
seriously
video.
telling you, you should watch it.
Yeah, we'll watch it, and we should definitely check that out and like do research into it and make sure, because I mean,
Yeah, but
if you have
it's
free
very,
energy.
and you guys also should do like try to make it at your home, because I don't think that government will make anything like that. Government will make generators so we can buy petrol.
I
Because
disagree. I'm
government
sorry.
never let.
But I disagree, because I disagree with the fact that some people, some engineers or a group of people can invent something that is way more sophisticated than entire groups of people that are from all around the world, experts could invent. So this is my expectation now. My expectation is that I will not expect from someone who is on YouTube, who posts about the technology, to have a technology that is way more efficient than governments and big things can invent.
No, brother. Actually, we tried it ourselves. Like a few friends, we made the whole prototype at home. If you want, like, I can send you some videos tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah, yes, just send videos and we will watch it, of course.
I'll show you the live demonstration of it, because it's like too late here. It's like around 2 a.m.
For sure.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I have to go to my friend's home. But no, it's really working. Seriously, I'm telling you.
Like
it took us like 6 to 7 months to build that. 6 to 7 months, but it works.
Oh, I doubt. As I said, I doubt. You can send this and we can discuss it in maybe, if you want, we can create a TROM-Cast about the energy and we can discuss it. But for now, I'm very skeptical. That's my projection here. I'm extremely skeptical.
You shouldn't believe anything that you haven't seen. Like, that's right. That's won't be.
Yes.
You are totally right. You have to see it yourself.
Okay. So, do you have any question in the chat? Do you think? Let's see. There is anything. If not, I don't think it's.
And there's a new. And there is new addiction going on. Gaming addiction we have in the Korea, if you guys know.
I don't know.
I just heard it a bit earlier. Gaming addiction is also increasing in the teenage boys.
Okay, we will discuss actually about that in the next book that Dima is writing about gaming addiction.
Oh, really? Nice.
So I think if you don't have any question in the chat, maybe next time we'll do it. That's why. Yesterday we couldn't do the live stream, by the way, because I messed up TROM-site.com, so I had to fix it, and we did it today. But next time we'll do it the same day, which is what day is it?
Thursday.
Okay, Thursday. And the same hour, and maybe we'll do one about privacy. We'll see, which is a very interesting topic.
Too interesting.
And go to even this news. To mention, these news are from TROM-site.com. You can go to TROM-site.com/tools. We have many free tools. One of them is curated news. If you want to read more.
Yeah, curated news. I see.
Yep. Okay, then I think it's done. Another TROM-Cast. Thank you for participating. And
it's like when do this live stream, like it's every week.
What? I didn't get that.
When will be the next live stream?
Next Thursday.
Thursday and time?
It's 8. It's the same time. It's 8.
7 UTC.
Oh, 7 UTC. Right.
7 UTC.
Yep.
Okay. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.